that climbs out of the primordial slime to attack Jesus. And I'm telling you this, there's going to be a backlash, because when you stand up for truth, you cannot stand up for truth and not absolutely come to the conclusion that Jesus is the truth. Look, it's not a religious argument anymore. It's a matter of life.
It's a fact. The evil people that have the evil fruits want to destroy real Christianity. They've tried to take it over. They've created Christianoid, plastic fake groups, infiltrating it, just like the Tea Party. They tried to infiltrate it. But it is. They literally have a spiritual hatred, and Christians are more persecuted now than ever before. And everywhere the UN goes, whether it's Syria or Central Africa, they are murdering Christians just with total savage abandonment.
Right. One of the things that people can do, you know, I'm always accused, I don't know if you are, but what can we do? What can we do? Well, we'll tell you what you do. You've got to get this out of your mind that there's any truth on the mainstream news media. There is no truth. You have to boycott them. You have to avoid them. And pretty soon, even they, you know, it's amazing. They hate us, but they still want the last vestige of money. The idea that they're taking our DNA, you know, they have stripped us of our dignity. God gave mankind the most amazing thing in the universe, so amazing that all of the fallen angels and Lucifer himself hated it. God said he created man in his image and likeness. So by destroying mankind, they can't obviously destroy God, but it's like a woman who gets mad at a boyfriend. She can't, you know, get her hands around his neck.
That's right. Satan is scorned. Satan is scorned.
Yeah, so that's the hatred that is being manifested should be, even to an unbeliever, amazing, because look, what are we telling people? We're not telling people to send Johnny out and blow himself up. We're telling people, look, you've got to understand this is a spiritual battle. Now, I understand, and you understand, that this thing is not going to stay in the spiritual realm. But there has been a denial, and even the DHS now has compromised churches, where I literally heard, Alex, you probably know this too, that people going to home Bible studies, if they're under a mega-church, have to be fingerprinted, and they have to have their dossiers. It's why I've been against Facebook all along. You know, there are people that share the gospel.
Oh, no, they're bringing Connect systems in to spy on the kids. The churches are telling women to leave their husbands. These mega churches are satanic command bases.
Oh, well stated. Do you remember, Alex, we did a show, and this I get excited, so if I sound enthusiastic, we did a show talking about Stasi, Marcus Wolf, Yevgeny Primakov. We talked about those people that were brought in from the most notorious spy agencies to set up the very protocols and the very procedures.
And by the way, when I first heard you say that, and Al Martin, I went and dug it up in the congressional record, the $1,100,000 that Marcus Wolf was paid, the former head of the Stasi, in a 3-year contract per year to help set up Homeland Security. They literally are setting it up directly off the East German blueprint.
Yeah, let me tell you something. It's a 30-second story that will appreciate this. It's amazing. I sat with a very famous Russian, I won't use his name, and he may be dead now, a number of years ago, 10 years ago, in Reno, basically blah, 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 buying a whole lot of vodka and a whole lot of shrimp, etc. And he just looked at me and he said, and I'll do the best I can, "You Americans are so foolish." He said, "You spend trillions to fight us, and now you pay us hundreds of millions to destroy your own people." Now, that's pretty telling, Alex, 10 years ago. You know, I don't remember what my bill was, but it was a couple $1,000 bucks, but it's priceless. And I'm not saying that to brag. What I'm saying is this, is that what's happening is plain to the world, except the people that are mind-controlled zombies.
Exactly. And I have these trendies who follow the trend. They download whatever the new program is and follow it and hold on to that like a lifeboat, even though it's a lead bowling ball, taking them to the bottom of the ocean like a millstone. They will buy anything they're told. That's what a trendy is. They are people that believe the world is going to fulfill them, when whatever the world is selling, you better believe is pure poison. Steve Quayle's our guest. Speak of the devil, the former CIA director has come out with a new Facebook program for neighborhoods. Leanne McAdoo went out to investigate. That's a 3-minute report coming up the next hour with Steve Quayle. Stay with us. Yellowstone's volcano magma is much bigger than previously thought. Huffington Post. Chicago Sun-Times. Yellowstone supervolcano eruption could be 2,000 times Mount St. Helens. And then we've got the New York Post talking to the geologist saying it would destroy the entire United States. And we were showing people that earlier on the screen. I'm not saying this is going to go off right now. The point is that when you've got reports like this, and then the government has known this, and in the past would say, shut up, don't talk about it, don't discuss it. My only point is the system is not in control. And now the volcano is becoming more active. It's rising, and geologists across the board say, they've gotten pretty good at predicting stuff. They say it's due to erupt. And they said, we don't know if that means a month or 50 years, but in the geological record, because they have the isotopes studying the last eruptions, they can tell you when things happen, meteor strikes, you name it. They're saying, basically, we're 1 second away. Now, that could be 1,000 years. But the point is it's getting more and more active every week, and they're getting freaked out. In fact, I was reading articles where geologists that have studied it, that live there, are leaving. I mean, I'm going to explain something to you, folks. There's no known time in human history, in the last 6,000 years of recorded history, when a supervolcano has gone off. And we have all these legends of civilizations that disappeared. Maybe that was it. When they do, they cause ice ages because they throw up so much dust. Krakatoa was known to have lowered world temperatures for several years. It was a small volcano. We're talking tiny compared to something like this. This is thousands of times worse. A hiccup of it. Just a hiccup would be 50, 100 times bigger than Mount St. Helens. Steve, I want to get into the economy with you, but you, again, are the first person I ever heard talk about the super caldera. I didn't even know. I mean, I knew it was volcanic, stuff like Hot Springs, Arkansas, deep down, but I didn't understand it was what they call, basically dormant, but really active, and that it was political correctness to call it dormant, but it's not dormant. It's active and becoming more active because you live in that area, I know, for a long time. Or at least did. I didn't ask where you live now, but how did you have the intel on that first?
Well, I basically, Alex, it's kind of interesting because I'm one of the only guys, maybe there are other people out there, I just don't know them, that have photographed it every year for 40 years. I fly it historically a couple times a year in a helicopter with thermal imaging. I know a lot of people, both behind the scenes and the ones that are quoted in the press, have talked to some of them. I don't know them personally, but have talked to them. And so the thing that I find it's interesting, though, when the BBC, prior to the Banda Aceh earthquake, wanted to come up here and put me on camera, you'll enjoy this. I said, you guys are a waste of time. Yellowstone's not going off, but you've got a very short time to get down to basically Indonesia because that's where the action's going to be. I will say this, that the whole, if you will, lava or magma chamber is headed more towards the south. And interestingly enough, if people want to go on my website, stevequayle.com, one of the most popular places on my website, Alex, is a photo of the day. And I'm like featuring Yellowstone next week to the nth degree because over the years I've seen the change. But what most people don't understand, what affects Yellowstone, I've literally been in Montana. I live in Bozeman still, and there have been 1,000 microquakes and nothing's happened. And I'll tell you a fascinating story. People say I'm a hypocrite because I live here. And I say, listen, I have peace in my heart that Yellowstone is not going to blow because I know quite a bit about the geology and I know what was happening. For the record, at one point there were Russian nukes there. They were taken out. Okay, that wasn't just a fable. That was true. And I happened to talk to the general who was under the authority to basically find him and disarm.
By the way, I mean, it even came out in mainstream news this year that they confirmed that the Russian embassy in D.C. had a nuke in it.
Yep. So the thing is Yellowstone, I'll tell you, you use the word Krakatoa. Krakatoa, the son of Krakatoa, is the one that I've written extensively about, and Sue Bradley, who's gone to be with the Lord, wrote amazing stuff about Krakatoa. But the fascinating thing is that even when you're dealing with volcanoes and the ancient myths and legends, I write about all this stuff to try and make it relevant to contemporary. They're talking about, if you will, demonic evil forces that get released. And now you're seeing people, and this is something that people should be aware of, because you're getting reports, even the Baja Mexico, of falling stars straight down, not with any type of angular trajectory, and people literally seeing these things forming into beings with wings and then disappearing. Okay, now I want to make something clear to everyone. This is not the World Weekly News we're talking about. These are eyewitness accounts coming from all over the world. And all of the ancient secrets, Alex, I remember, I quote the scripture, there's nothing that has been hidden that's not going to be revealed. The control of ancient history that tells us what holds in the future, what the future holds, has been in the hands of the Illuminati.
No, I hear you. There's a lot of stuff we don't know, and they hide all that knowledge, and there's also a lot of other craziness out there.
Let's look at the biggest threat right now. It's Cumbra Vieja, okay? The bottom line is we're seeing specific harp signatures over Cumbra Vieja in the Canary Islands. We're seeing the New Madrid. We're seeing just massive stuff. By the way, one of the biggest magma chambers besides the Yellowstone, it goes up and down the Cascade region, okay? And Henry Gruver, an amazing...
That's right. And we've been seeing earthquakes on the East Coast that haven't happened in hundreds of years at that magnitude.
Yep. Yeah, so what I'm saying is people got to pay attention to this stuff. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if this stuff interests you and you want to know the science behind it and the control behind it, I wrote a great book called Weather Wars, and I'm only pitching it, Alex, because they're so far ahead of their time that when it happens, people say, how'd you know? I have an answer for them. No one could know this unless God or his servants gave me the knowledge. I want to make it clear, okay? I'm not clairvoyant. I'm just a guy that's a researcher and an author.
You're able to look at all the documents and issues that are there, and then you connect the dots and you know are given discernment. It makes perfect sense. Now, one big issue that's come out is that the police and military are compartmentalized, but they are being trained for martial law. They are being trained for economic collapse. We know all the reasons. We know the stock markets, most companies that are in there are 100 to 1, 50 to 1, 200 to 1 price-earnings ratios. It's totally insane. No one's denying that. What do you expect in the next year or so with the global stock market? Will it go to 20,000? Will it plunge to 10,000? Will they use the plunge to then bring in the bail-in and go after our bank accounts like Europe? What's coming?
Well, they're going for a bail-in like Europe, okay? That's already stated. It's already there. The bottom line is they changed the wording, Alex, in the banking laws from obviously a secured lender to an unsecured lender, which means basically if the bank's in trouble and you put your money in the bank, they have access to your money. It's no longer your money. If you look at the return that people are getting in the banking world, it's pathetic. Now, the stock market's a crapshoot. HFT, high-frequency trading, is the order of the day. The scandals, how anyone can believe that the people that are in trouble for stealing billions and trillions of dollars are going to make it possible for them to make an honest buck. You see, the point is the American middle class has just about been destroyed. The whole insurance business and what people have...
Everything is converting to a fraudulent economy, which gives the globalists total control, where they're exempt from the depression they're putting onto us, and that's it. Everything is a gamed facade at the global level, and they're trying to eradicate any form of independence because then they'll have full control.
Right, and you know, let's talk about the FEMA camps, because you're the one that has documented it over and over and over. You remember all the crap people used to give us about that?
Yes.
Well, you know, if you're planning on placing primarily Christians and others who are constitutionalists, freedom-loving conservatives, what happens to all their stuff? That's a question that nobody ever asks. I'll ask it, I'll deal with it, and I'll tell you it. That's what's promised to the pillagers, okay? You can watch the Viking movies on TV or A&E or wherever it's on and go, gee, that's how those guys made a living, by pillaging. That's what's promised. We've seen it. We saw it in the Louisiana situation where literally homes were ransacked. So what the disconnect, Alex, is this. They don't want just some stuff. They want all stuff. They don't want just some power. They want all power. And they want to remove any challenge to that. And that's why, since I went on talk radio, and you know this, you know that there are times in your life, Alex Jones, where something unseen saved your life, protected you, or you were at the right place at the right time instead of the wrong place at the wrong time. The people who are at the wrong place at the wrong time, we have their obituaries already. So I'm encouraging every Christian or everybody that's seeking to come to know the Lord Jesus Christ, that's a great prayer. Lord, help me be at the right place at the right time and not the wrong place at the wrong time. Well,
that's another point. People are spiritually being moved and awakened that there is a force of good and evil. Look at Matt Drudge coming out and saying he learned how to pray and it's done amazing things for him in 2013. And of course, all the science shows when you truly pray, your brain waves go up. You have high levels of creativity and empathy. There is some connection, and that's what we need to counter this evil.